Are you Kang Tae-hyun?
Yes. Who are you?
Our mother said this belongs to our father.
Happy birthday, Tae-hyun.
Claire?
It's time you met your children.
3 gifts, because there are 3 of us.
Sir, everyone is waiting. Let them wait.
Before we rewind 10 years, I want to thank everyone who has been supporting this channel. Your love means more than you know. If you're new here, please like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a story. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. I would love to know how far our stories are traveling. Now let's rewind 10 years to the birthday when Claire gave Tae-hyun a promise, and his family decided to destroy it. 10 years earlier, Kang Tae-hyun climbed the narrow stairs leading to a small rooftop restaurant in Seoul. His expensive suit looked strangely out of place beside the faded walls and hanging flower pots. He had spent the entire day inside a boardroom, negotiating a deal worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But when he reached the rooftop, none of that mattered. Claire Mensa stood beside a candlelit table, holding a small homemade cake. "You're late," she said, folding her arms. "My meeting refused to end." "Then I hope your meeting remembered to buy you a birthday cake." Tae-hyun noticed the cake and smiled. It didn't, but the only person who matters did. Claire tried to remain annoyed, but her smile betrayed her. They had been secretly married for almost a year. Tae-hyun wanted to announce it, but his mother had insisted they wait until a major corporate merger was complete. Claire had never been comfortable with the secrecy. She loved Tae-hyun, but she sometimes wondered whether there would ever be a perfect time for the Kang family to accept her. "Close your eyes," she told him. Tae-hyun obeyed. Claire placed a small gift in his hands. When he opened his eyes, he found a simple leather journal. A notebook. It's not just a notebook. Claire opened it to the first page. Written across it were the words, "The life we will build together." "The first pages are empty," Tae-hyun observed. "They're waiting for us." "And what are we supposed to write?" "Everything. The home we want. The places we'll visit. The children we might have someday." Tae-hyun looked up from the journal. "Children." Claire laughed. "Someday, Tae-hyun. Don't look so frightened." "I'm not frightened. You look like I just asked you to negotiate with 3 screaming babies." "3. Fine. Maybe 2. He pulled her closer. "If they have your courage, I'll survive. And if they inherit your stubbornness, then you won't." They laughed together beneath the rooftop lights, unaware that it would be their last peaceful birthday for 10 years. Before Tae-hyun blew out the candles, Claire asked him to make a wish. He looked directly at her. "I don't need one. Everyone needs a birthday wish. I already have what I want." Claire lowered her eyes, smiling. Tae-hyun opened the journal again and wrote one sentence on the first empty page. "No matter what my family says, I will always choose you." Then he signed his name beneath it. 3 weeks later, Tae-hyun left Seoul for a business trip. He was supposed to return after 4 days. On the second morning of his absence, Claire stood inside their bathroom staring at 2 lines on a pregnancy test. She covered her mouth as tears filled her eyes. She was pregnant. Trembling with excitement, Claire bought 3 tiny gift boxes. She placed the pregnancy test inside the first, Tae-hyun's journal inside the second, and a pair of baby socks inside the third. She planned to arrange them on the dining table when he returned, but Tae-hyun never completed the journey home. The private aircraft carrying him experienced a mechanical failure shortly after takeoff. The pilots managed an emergency landing, but Tae-hyun was seriously injured. When Claire received the call, she rushed to the hospital. She barely reached the private floor before security stopped her. "My husband is in there," she pleaded. The guards exchanged uncomfortable glances. Then Chairwoman Kang emerged from behind the secured doors. "You cannot see him," she said. "I'm his wife. You are a secret he should never have been allowed to keep." Claire's hand moved protectively toward her stomach. "I need to know if he's alive." "He is alive, but you will not complicate his recovery." Chairwoman Kang led Claire into an empty consultation room. On the table was an envelope containing photographs, legal papers, and printed messages. The photographs showed Tae-hyun meeting the daughter of a powerful political family. The messages appeared to show him agreeing that his relationship with Claire had become a liability. Claire shook her head. "He didn't write these. You believed he would sacrifice the Kang group for you. He promised me. Men make beautiful promises when nothing has demanded that they keep them." Chairwoman Kang pushed divorce documents toward her. "Tae-hyun has already agreed to end the marriage. He would tell me himself. He does not want to see you." Claire stared at the signature at the bottom of the papers. It looked exactly like Tae-hyun's. She wanted to believe her husband, but she was frightened, pregnant, and completely alone in a country where the Kang family controlled every door she tried to open. "I need to speak to him. You will not be permitted near him again." Chairwoman Kang's voice remained calm. "Leave quietly, Claire. If you force this family into a public scandal, the consequences will follow you and the child you are carrying." Claire's eyes widened. "You know, I know everything." That night, Claire signed the papers. She left their apartment with one suitcase, Tae-hyun's journal, and the 3 gift boxes he had never opened. Tae-hyun remained unconscious for 12 days. When he finally awakened, his first word was Claire's name. His mother sat beside the hospital bed and took his hand. "She's gone." Tae-hyun struggled to lift his head. "What do you mean?" "She accepted a settlement and left the country. She said she could no longer wait for you to choose her." "No." Chairwoman Kang gave him the signed divorce papers and a record showing money transferred into an account under Claire's name. Tae-hyun stared at Claire's signature until the letters became blurred. "She wouldn't leave without speaking to me." "She did." 4 months, Tae-hyun searched privately. Every address led nowhere. Every message went unanswered because none ever reached Claire. Eventually, his grief hardened into silence. And thousands of kilometers away, Claire gave birth to 3 children, Maya, Micah, and Milo. The first years were difficult. Claire worked during the day and studied at night while an elderly woman named Grandma Esther helped care for the babies. Esther had found Claire crying outside a bus terminal shortly after she arrived, exhausted, pregnant, and unsure where she would sleep. She offered Claire a spare room without demanding an explanation. When the triplets were born, Esther became the grandmother they desperately needed. Claire never told the children that their father had rejected them. She simply said he did not know they existed. For 9 years, Tae-hyun's name remained unspoken inside their home, until Maya collapsed during a school performance. The doctors discovered an inherited heart condition that had remained hidden since birth. She could live a long life with the right treatment, but the medical team needed a detailed family history from both parents. Claire provided everything she knew about her own family. It was not enough. She would have to find Tae-hyun. Returning to Seoul terrified her, but losing Maya frightened her more. She sent messages to Tae-hyun's office and requested a private meeting. No one responded. She called repeatedly, but every call ended with another assistant promising to pass along her information. Then Claire saw an announcement about Tae-hyun's 40th birthday gala. It would be held at the Seoul Crown Hotel, where he would formally accept his appointment as chairman of the Kang Group. Claire stared at the invitation displayed online. She had spent 9 years protecting her children from the pain of being unwanted. Now she had to walk them directly into the world that had once thrown her away. On the evening of the gala, Tae-hyun stood beneath crystal chandeliers while hundreds of guests celebrated a life he no longer enjoyed living. Politicians, executives, and celebrities surrounded him, offering congratulations that sounded rehearsed. His assistant, Daniel Cho, approached with a tablet. "Your speech begins in 4 minutes." Tae-hyun nodded without listening. Birthdays had felt empty since Claire disappeared. Every year reminded him of the rooftop, the homemade cake, and the leather journal she had taken with her. Across the ballroom, Chairwoman Kang watched her son with quiet satisfaction. That night, he would become chairman and announce his engagement to the daughter of one of the group's most powerful partners. Everything was proceeding exactly as she had planned. Then a young girl approached Tae-hyun, carrying a small wrapped box. "Are you Kang Tae-hyun?" she asked. "Yes. Who are you?" "My name is Maya. My brothers and I brought you a birthday gift." 2 boys stood several steps behind her. Each carried a box matching hers. Tae-hyun looked around for their parents. "How did you know it was my birthday?" Maya extended the gift. "Because our mother said this belongs to our father." Every sound around Tae-hyun seemed to disappear. Then he saw Claire standing at the ballroom entrance. For 10 years, he had imagined what he would say if he ever found her. But now that she was there, he could not form a single sentence. "Happy birthday, Tae-hyun," Claire said. "Claire, I think it's time you met your children." One of the boys placed the remaining boxes beside Maya's. "There are 3 gifts because there are 3 of us," Milo said. Daniel hurried forward. "Sir, the chairman's announcement begins in 30 seconds. Everyone is waiting." Tae-hyun kept his eyes on Claire. "Let them wait." His hands trembled as he opened Maya's gift. Inside was the wedding ring he had given Claire 10 years earlier. He opened the second box and found 3 birth certificates. The third contained the leather journal. Tae-hyun opened it to the first page and saw the promise written in his own handwriting. "No matter what my family says, I will always choose you." His face crumpled. "Why didn't you tell me?" Claire's expression changed, not to anger, but to the exhaustion of someone who had carried the same wound for too long. "I tried." Tae-hyun looked at the children. "Are they really mine?" Before Claire could answer, Milo stepped protectively in front of Maya. "We didn't come here for your money." "I didn't say you did." "You were about to." "Milo," Claire said gently. "No, Mum. He needs to know." Maya suddenly gripped the edge of the table. Her face tightened as she pressed a hand against her chest. Claire moved quickly and steadied her. Tae-hyun stepped forward, but Milo blocked him. "What's wrong with her?" Claire looked directly into Tae-hyun's eyes. "This isn't about your birthday, your position, or your money. Maya has a hereditary heart condition. Her doctors need her father's complete family medical history." Tae-hyun's voice fell to a whisper. "Is she in danger?" Claire held Maya closer. "If they don't understand what she inherited and how to treat it, I could lose our daughter." And for the first time that night, Tae-hyun understood that the 3 boxes were not simply birthday gifts. They were 9 stolen years returning all at once, and one of his children might not have another year to give him. For several seconds, Tae-hyun could do nothing but stare at Maya. Hundreds of guests remained gathered inside the ballroom. Cameras were pointed toward the stage, waiting for him to accept the chairmanship of the Kang Group. His mother stood among the crowd, silently warning him not to create a scandal. None of it mattered anymore. Tae-hyun turned to Daniel. "Cancel the announcement." Daniel hesitated. "Sir, the board members have already." "I said cancel it." Chairwoman Kang hurried toward him. "Tae-hyun, think carefully. You cannot abandon the most important night of your career because a woman from your past appeared with 3 children." Claire immediately pulled the triplets closer. Tae-hyun looked from his mother to the divorce papers inside Maya's gift box. You knew she was pregnant. The color drained from Chairwoman Kang's face. This is neither the time nor the place. You knew, didn't you? I protected you from a terrible mistake. Milo stepped closer to Claire. Can we leave now? Tae-hyun looked at the children and realized they were standing inside a room filled with strangers who had begun whispering about them. He lowered his voice. Yes, we're leaving. Chairwoman Kang grabbed his arm. If you walk out now, you will humiliate this family in front of the entire country. Tae-hyun removed her hand. If what Claire said is true, this family deserves to be humiliated. He instructed Daniel to have a car brought to the private entrance. Minutes later, Tae-hyun left his birthday gala with Claire and the triplets while the board members waited for an announcement that never came. Unfortunately, several reporters witnessed their departure. By the time the car reached the hospital, photographs had already begun circulating online. Claire sat beside Maya in the back seat. Micah remained quiet, studying Tae-hyun from across the vehicle. Milo kept his arms folded and stared through the window. Tae-hyun wanted to ask 1,000 questions, but Maya's condition came first. At the hospital, her cardiologist explained that Maya had an abnormality affecting the rhythm of her heart. Medication could control it temporarily, but additional tests were required before the doctors could determine whether she needed a corrective procedure. We need an accurate medical history from her father's family, the doctor said. We also recommend confirming biological paternity immediately. We cannot base a treatment plan on assumptions. I'll take the test, Tae-hyun replied. Whatever you need. Claire remained beside Maya while a nurse collected the samples. Tae-hyun stood outside the room with Micah and Milo. Micah looked up at him. Are you really our father? I believe I am. That's not what he asked, Milo said. Tae-hyun swallowed. The test will give us an answer. Milo's expression hardened. Mom already gave you the answer. Before Tae-hyun could respond, Daniel arrived holding his phone. The birthday photographs are everywhere. Several outlets are reporting that Miss Mensa interrupted the gala with 3 children claiming to be yours. Claire stepped out of Maya's room. How did they get my name? Daniel looked uncomfortable. Someone at the hotel identified you. Tae-hyun immediately understood. My mother. Daniel did not confirm it, but he did not need to. Tae-hyun instructed the company's legal and communications teams to make no statement about Claire or the children. If anyone releases their medical information, I will hold the entire department responsible. By morning, the story had spread across the country. Some reporters described Claire as Tae-hyun's abandoned former wife. Others called her an opportunist who had waited until his appointment as chairman to appear. Online strangers studied the photographs and debated whether she had planned the scene to obtain money. Milo read one of the articles on a borrowed tablet. He threw it onto the hospital chair. They're calling Mom a liar. Tae-hyun picked up the tablet. I'll stop it. How? I'll tell them the truth. You don't even know the truth yet. The words struck harder than Milo intended. Tae-hyun knew his own version of the past. He had seen divorce documents and financial records. But Claire had shown him a different truth, and he had not yet learned who had constructed the lie between them. The DNA results arrived the following afternoon. The doctor placed the report on the desk. The results confirmed that Mr. Kang is the biological father of all 3 children. Tae-hyun closed his eyes. For 9 years, he had attended meetings, traveled across continents, and returned every night to a silent house. During those same years, his children had learned to walk, speak, read, and dream without him. Micah leaned toward the report. So it's official? Yes, the doctor answered. Micah considered it carefully. Does that mean we have to call him Dad? No, Claire said gently. It means you can decide what relationship you want with him. No one will force you. Tae-hyun appreciated her answer, even though it hurt. After providing the Kang family's medical information, Tae-hyun insisted that Claire and the children stay at his private residence near the hospital. Claire refused. We already have a hotel. The reporters know where it is. We'll find another one. Maya needs stability. She needs peace. Those are not always the same thing. Tae-hyun lowered his voice. I can protect you there. Claire held his gaze. The last time I entered a Kang family home, I lost my husband before I even reached the door. Tae-hyun could not argue with that. Instead, he rented a quiet furnished house close to the hospital and placed security outside at a distance. Claire accepted only after he agreed that the property would remain in her name for the duration of their stay. Tae-hyun then made his first mistake. Within 2 days, the house filled with expensive clothing, computers, toys, tutors, and imported furniture. He arranged private school interviews and opened trust funds for all 3 children. Claire found him directing workers as they carried in a large model train set. What is all this? Things they should have had. They already have everything they need. They spent 9 years without me. And you think you can put 9 years inside shopping bags? Tae-hyun dismissed the workers and closed the door. I'm trying to help. No, you're trying to escape your guilt. Claire pointed toward the unopened gifts. Micah likes building things from scraps because he wants to understand how they work. Maya writes comedy stories when she's frightened. Milo cooks breakfast whenever he thinks I'm too tired. Do you know any of that? Tae-hyun said nothing. You don't know them yet, she continued. And they don't know you. If you truly want to give them something, give them your time. The next morning, Tae-hyun arrived without gifts. He sat at the kitchen table while Micah dismantled an old radio. You'll break it, Tae-hyun said. It was already broken. Micah removed a small component. The problem is here. Tae-hyun leaned closer. How do you know? I listened to the sound it made. For the next hour, Micah explained every piece as if Tae-hyun were the child. By the time the radio produced music again, Micah was smiling. Maya was easier to talk to. She teased Tae-hyun about his serious expression and asked whether billionaires were allowed to eat noodles from paper cups. They are when their daughter insists, he replied. Maya paused. You called me your daughter. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I didn't say I was uncomfortable. She handed him a second cup, but Milo refused every attempt Tae-hyun made. When Tae-hyun offered to walk him to a nearby shop, Milo declined. When he asked about school, Milo gave one-word answers. When Tae-hyun attended Maya's appointment, Milo watched him as though waiting for him to leave early. One evening, Maya became frightened during a scan. Tae-hyun sat beside her and allowed her to squeeze his hand until his fingers hurt. Afterward, Milo confronted him in the corridor. You keep looking sad whenever they talk about the years you missed. I am sad. You act like someone stole everything from you. My mother may have done exactly that. Milo's eyes filled with anger. Those years weren't only stolen from you. They were stolen from us too. Tae-hyun went silent. You missed birthdays, Milo continued. But we missed having a father at every birthday. You lost children you didn't know about. We grew up wondering why the other children had someone we didn't. I'm sorry. You always say that. Because I am. Being sorry doesn't make you our father. No, Tae-hyun admitted. Staying might. Milo looked away. Then stay. But don't expect us to trust you quickly. That night, Tae-hyun returned to the Kang estate and confronted his mother. Chairwoman Kang sat calmly in her study. You forged Claire's divorce papers. I prevented you from throwing away your future. She was pregnant. I knew. The answer destroyed the last hope that there had been some misunderstanding. You threatened her. I gave her a choice. A frightened pregnant woman standing alone in a hospital did not have a choice. Chairwoman Kang rose from her chair. You were about to inherit an empire. Your marriage had already begun creating problems with investors and political partners. Then there were 3 children who would have complicated succession even further. They were babies. They were risks. Tae-hyun stared at his mother, as if seeing her for the first time. If Maya dies because you kept her medical history from me, I will never forgive you. His mother's composure broke, briefly. I did not know one of them was ill. You made sure you knew nothing about them. He left the estate and returned to Claire's temporary home, but he found suitcases near the stairs. You're leaving? Claire folded Maya's clothing carefully. The doctors have enough information to continue her treatment. We can return after the procedure is scheduled. Is this because of the reporters? It's because Milo is angry, Maya is frightened, and Micah has started reading every article written about us. I can fix that. That is what you always say. Tae-hyun moved closer. Claire, please don't disappear again. Her hand stopped. I didn't disappear, Tae-hyun. I was pushed out, and you accepted the explanation they gave you. I searched for you. For how long? He could not answer immediately. Claire closed the suitcase. That is what I thought. At the Kang Group headquarters, Daniel remained late, searching through archived correspondence from the year of Tae-hyun's accident. Most of the digital records had been deleted. However, one entry mentioned that several personal items from Tae-hyun's hospital room had been transferred to the late Chairman Kang's private archive. Daniel drove to the old records building and searched through boxes covered in 10 years of dust. Near midnight, he discovered a locked wooden case. Inside were 9 unopened letters addressed to Tae-hyun. Every envelope carried Claire's handwriting. The first was dated 3 months before the triplets were born. The final letter was written on their first birthday. Daniel immediately called Tae-hyun. Sir, you need to come to the archive. What did you find? Daniel looked down at the first envelope, where Claire had written a message beneath Tae-hyun's name. Please let him know that his children are waiting for him. Daniel's voice became quiet. I found proof that Claire never stopped trying to bring your family home. Tae-hyun reached the archive shortly after midnight. Daniel stood beside a wooden table with 9 unopened envelopes arranged across it. Some were worn at the edges. Others carried postal markings showing they had been redirected more than once. Tae-hyun picked up the oldest letter. His hands shook as he opened it. Tae-hyun, I don't know what your mother told you, but I need you to hear the truth from me. I am pregnant. The doctors say there may be more than one baby. I am frightened, but I still believe you deserve to know. If you truly want us gone, tell me yourself. Please do not leave me with only someone else's version of your heart. Tae-hyun lowered the letter. She told me Claire took money and disappeared. Daniel pointed toward the remaining envelopes. There's more. The second letter contained a copy of Claire's ultrasound report. The third announced that she was carrying triplets. In the fourth, she gave him the address where she was staying. Every letter had been received by someone connected to the Kang family. None had reached him. The final envelope was thicker than the others. Inside were 3 photographs taken on the triplets' first birthday. Claire had written their names beneath them. Maya laughs whenever music plays. Micah is already fascinated by anything with buttons. Milo refuses to sleep unless his brother and sister are beside him. Tae-hyun pressed the photographs against his chest. At the bottom of the letter was one final message. I will not write again after this. Every unanswered letter feels like another rejection, and I need enough strength left to raise our children. If you ever decide you want to know them, I hope it will not be too late. Tae-hyun sat down. For 10 years, he had believed Claire chose money over him. Claire had spent those same years believing he had deliberately abandoned for people who loved him. Who placed these here? Tae-hyun asked. Daniel opened the archive record. The authorization came from your mother's private office. Tae-hyun gathered every letter. Make copies. Secure the originals. What are you going to do? Tae-hyun looked at the photographs again. Something I should have done 10 years ago. I'm going to choose my family, where everyone can see me do it. The following morning, the board gathered for an emergency meeting. Executives demanded that Tae-hyun deny paternity until the media attention disappeared. Several warned him that acknowledging Claire and the triplets could destabilize the company's succession plan. Chairwoman Kang sat at the far end of the table. Tae-hyun entered carrying Claire's letters. The DNA results confirm that the triplets are my children, he announced. Uneasy murmurs moved around the room. One executive leaned forward. Then we should prepare a controlled statement. We can acknowledge financial responsibility without discussing the circumstances of their birth. Financial responsibility. It protects the company while providing for the children. Tae-hyun placed the letters on the table. My children are not liabilities to be settled. Another board member cleared his throat. Your appointment as chairman depends on stability. Then postpone it. The room fell silent. Chairwoman Kang stared at him. You would surrender everything for a woman who may never take you back. This is not a transaction. Claire does not owe me reconciliation because I finally discovered the truth. He turned toward the board. I will not accept the chairmanship while my company's resources are being used to attack the mother of my children. Effective immediately, an independent investigation will determine who released her identity and medical information. One of the executives protested. The shareholders will see this as weakness. No, they will see accountability. Tae-hyun looked directly at his mother. Something this family should have learned years ago. Later that day, Tae-hyun released a short public statement. He confirmed that Micah, and Milo were his children, and admitted that Claire had made repeated attempts to contact him. He did not blame her for the separation. He did not disclose Maya's condition. And he asked the public to allow the children to live without becoming entertainment for strangers. When Claire watched the statement, she remained quiet. You believe him now, don't you? Micah asked. I believe he is trying. Is that the same as forgiving him? No, but it can be the beginning. Claire postponed their departure. 2 days later, Maya's doctors scheduled the procedure needed to correct the abnormal rhythm of her heart. On the morning of the procedure, Maya tried to smile. If I get through this, I want noodles. You'll have as many as you want, Tae-hyun promised. And I want to sit in your chair at the company. That might be more dangerous than the noodles. Maya laughed, but her fingers tightened around his. Will you stay here? I won't move. Milo stood on Maya's other side. You promise? Tae-hyun met his eyes. I promise. Milo studied him for a moment. Then he nodded. The procedure lasted nearly 5 hours. Claire paced the waiting room until her legs could no longer carry her. Tae-hyun sat beside her, close enough to offer comfort, but careful not to assume he was allowed. What if something happens? She whispered. Tae-hyun could not offer an empty reassurance. Then we face it together. Claire looked at him. That is what you wrote in the journal. And then I failed to do it. You didn't know. I should have questioned what they told me. I should have searched longer. Yes, Claire said softly. You should have. Tae-hyun accepted the truth without defending himself. I can't repair 10 years. But if you allow me, I will spend the rest of my life being present. The doctor entered before Claire could respond. Maya's procedure had been successful. Claire covered her face and began to cry. Tae-hyun closed his eyes as relief passed through him. Micah hugged his mother. Milo stood motionless for a second before turning toward Tae-hyun. Then, for the first time, he wrapped his arms around him. Tae-hyun held his son carefully. "Thank you for staying," Milo whispered. "I told you I would. You said being sorry wouldn't make you our father." "I remember." Milo pulled back. Staying helped. Maya recovered steadily. Tae-hyun attended every appointment and learned the names of her medications. He helped Micah build a miniature suspension bridge for school and allowed Milo to teach him how to prepare breakfast without burning anything. The expensive gifts remained unopened. The time he gave them did not. Several weeks later, Chairwoman Kang asked to meet Claire and the children. Claire nearly refused, but she eventually agreed to see her in a quiet room at the hospital. The powerful woman who entered looked different from the one Claire remembered. Not because time had weakened her, but because the truth had stripped away the authority behind her excuses. "I thought I was protecting my son," Chairwoman Kang began. Claire's expression remained firm. "You were protecting the future you chose for him." "Yes." "You threatened me while he was unconscious." "Yes." "You knew I was carrying his children." Chairwoman Kang lowered her eyes. "Yes." Tae-hyun stood beside Claire. "You didn't make one mistake, Mother. You made the same choice every day. You kept those letters hidden." "I know." Milo moved closer to his mother. Chairwoman Kang looked at the triplets, but did not approach them. "I have no right to ask any of you for forgiveness. I only wanted you to hear me admit that what I did was cruel, and that none of it was Claire's fault." Claire took a slow breath. "I may forgive you one day, but forgiveness will not give you automatic access to my children. I understand. It was not a reunion. It was accountability, the only honest place from which healing could begin." Once Maya was strong enough to travel, Tae-hyun accompanied the family to visit Grandma Esther. She stood outside her modest home, staring in disbelief as the triplets rushed toward her. "My babies." Maya hugged her first, followed by Micah and Milo. Claire embraced the woman who had given her shelter when she had nowhere to go. Tae-hyun waited until they separated before approaching. "You cared for my family when I could not," he said. Esther studied him. "I cared for them because they needed someone, not because I expected repayment. I know. That's why I'll never be able to repay you completely." Tae-hyun offered to buy her a larger home and provide everything she needed. Esther refused the house but accepted one request. Tae-hyun would establish a support program for abandoned pregnant women without naming it after the Kang family. "Help the next woman before she reaches the same kind of night Claire did," Esther told him. Tae-hyun agreed. Returning to Seoul did not immediately restore his marriage. Claire found a home of her own and rebuilt her professional life. Tae-hyun did not pressure her to move into his estate. He visited according to the schedule they created together. He attended school events, cooked imperfect dinners, and listened when the children spoke. Then he began courting Claire again. Their first new date took place at the same rooftop restaurant where she had once given him the journal. There were no reporters and no expensive decorations. Only a small cake between them. "I don't want our old marriage back," Claire told him. Tae-hyun's expression fell. She reached across the table. "I want something new, something we choose with the truth this time." Tae-hyun held her hand. "I can wait as long as you need." 1 year after Claire entered his birthday celebration with the triplets, Tae-hyun returned home expecting a quiet dinner. Instead, Maya, Micah, and Milo stood behind 3 familiar gift boxes. "There are 3 again," he asked. "Open them," Maya said. The first contained a framed photograph of the five of them. The second held the old leather journal. Beneath Tae-hyun's original promise, Claire had written, "This time, we choose each other with open eyes." The third box contained a key. Tae-hyun stared at it. Micah smiled. Mom found a house with enough space for all of us. Milo stepped forward. We voted. And what did you decide? Maya grinned. That you can come home with us. Tae-hyun looked at Claire. Is that what you want? She nodded. It's what we all want. The previous year, Tae-hyun's birthday had brought back every year that had been stolen from him. This year, it gave him something his money could never purchase, a place inside the family he was finally worthy of joining. And as the triplets pulled him toward the cake, Tae-hyun understood that the greatest gifts were not inside the three boxes. They were standing around him, waiting for him to come home. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe Claire was right to make Tae-hyun earn her trust again? And could you ever forgive someone who stole 10 years from your family? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next emotional Afro-Korean story.